Today we are going to be going over my top 22 finds of 2022. So you might be thinking that you've seen all of these if you have watched my videos throughout the entire year, but you have not seen all of these finds today. And the reason why is because I just found the best finds of the year last week. So let's just get this video kicked off with my top 22 finds of 2022. I couldn't believe it when I walked into Snyder's Antique Mall in Hillsboro, Oregon, and came around the corner and then heard the thrift gods sing.
I'm trying not to freak out. I think this BITOSSI says $10. It does. I'm so excited.
There was a BITOSSI candle holder just sitting there. I didn't see the price tag at first, so I picked it up, looked at the price tag, and it blew my mind. It was only $9.95. I collect Italian pottery, and it is not easy to find here on the West Coast. I've only found a few pieces in thrift stores, and occasionally I do come across them at an antique store, but the price is just too high for me. It's full retail. So the fact that I found this at an antique store for $9.99 was definitely a highlight of the year. If you want to learn a little bit more about Italian pottery, specifically by BITOSSI, I filmed an amazing vlog in Montelupo, Italy this last summer, and I will link it in the description below, and also I'll put a link up here for you. Not only will you learn a lot about Italian BITOSSI pottery, but you're also going to get to see some amazing pieces that are very rare and limited editions that you probably won't see anywhere else. I have been shopping Facebook Marketplace for vintage finds and home decor items probably since the day that it launched on the platform, and I have found a lot of furniture pieces in my home and a lot of furniture pieces that I have sold over the years on Facebook Marketplace. So when my husband Jesse and I were working on redoing our breezeway for a special episode, which I'll link in the description below, I knew that Facebook Marketplace was a great place to start looking. I had something very specific in mind for the coffee table for that space, but what's really funny is that I didn't actually know what I had in mind. I just knew all of the things I didn't want. I wanted something that had the warm wood tones, but that was simple, sleek, modern, and not too rustic, and as soon as I saw that listing, I knew that that was the perfect coffee table for that space. I immediately messaged her, got it on hold, and we went to go pick it up.
Found a coffee table for the breezeway on Facebook Marketplace, and we just picked it up, and it looks even better than I had hoped in person.
And it works beautifully in our outdoor breezeway. This is probably one of my favorite spaces I've made over in our new home that we purchased last year. We still have about half of the home to finish remodeling. In our last home, we made the mistake of doing a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, and it felt like nothing was finished for such a long time. In our new home, we've been working on just tackling one space at a time, and if you haven't seen the breezeway makeover, I will put the link in the description below because it's probably one of our best makeover spaces we've done to date. Road trip and thrift and adventures are my jam. And when we went to go visit some family at the beginning of the year down in California, I knew that I had to squeeze in a week of thrifting. I did an entire Route 66 tour and I found some amazing things, and I'm going to show you the whole haul at the end of this video from that adventure. But one of my favorite pieces that I found on the California trip was actually in Riverside, California. The first time that I had ever seen or even heard of David SALK pottery was when I was hanging out with George the Antique Nomad on our Springfield, Ohio adventures.
He was doing it in the 80s and 90s, and this was the artist, and she actually did pay that price for it back when she got it.
Wow, in 91?
In 91.
Wow.
I think I will do... Is 40 okay?
Absolutely.
Okay,
yeah, absolutely.
I think it's a great piece, actually.
It's really
and
great.
It's got his David SALK signature, and it's great that it's got the original receipt.
Well, thank you for giving me a good deal. I'm excited to
You're
get it
welcome.
home and
Me
decorate
too.
with it.
I immediately fell in love with the pottery. There was something really unique about the style and how it looked like a woven basket. So I purchased that piece from George the Antique Nomad, and thus my collection began. Technically, I don't have an actual collection since I only have 2 of these pieces, and I've been told that it takes 3 to have a collection, but I believe that if in your heart you are searching for those pieces, then you have a collection. In September, Jesse and I went on the greatest adventure in our life. And I'm not exaggerating, it was amazing. We did our very first group travel trip to Morocco with our host, Liz Camerel. I will link her information in the description below in case you want to check out her upcoming trips that she's hosting around the world. And if you have not seen our Morocco adventure, it is the video that I am probably the most proud of that I have ever put out. So I highly encourage you to give that a watch. I will link that in the description below. So technically, I did not find this at a flea market, but this has to be the oldest piece I've ever owned because it's millions of years old. We went to an amazing fossil museum and got a tour of the entire factory and how they cut these pieces and find them, and to learn the history of what types of fossils are found in Morocco.
These look like Yoda mixed with a sea turtle or a beetle. Isn't this incredible?
If you watch the vlog, you'll see how many amazing fossils there were, and it was really hard to choose just one, but this one was speaking to me. There was something really cool about how it looked like a horn, but it also had a very sculptural feeling to it. What I didn't want was to just end up with a shell that I would put in a drawer and never look at. I really wanted that one piece that was going to remind me of that trip every time I looked at it, and this is what I came home with. Another trip that I did in September was a Midwest picking trip. Maya and I flew into Minneapolis so that we could drive to go to the Fargo junk market, which was amazing. And thanks again, Kelly, for having us. When we were on our way back from Fargo, we were stopping at all of the antique stores in Minneapolis. A huge thank you to all of the subscribers and everyone on Instagram who gave us tips on where we needed to go in Minneapolis, because we probably wouldn't have found Retro Wanderlust if it wasn't for you. And then I would not have found this perfect mid-century mirror for our 1962 home.
The mirror has arrived and it had no damage. She did a great job packaging it, and I think it's going to be perfect here in our entry.
Another highlight of the year has to be our 30 days in Europe trip, where we went to flea markets in London, Paris, Portugal, Italy. It was such an amazing experience, and I've got to tell you, the Paris flea markets are amazing. Again, if you have not watched those videos, I will put the links to all these videos in the description below with titles so you know which one is which. We found a lot of amazing stuff in Paris for really good prices, but by far my favorite piece has to be the owl lamp. We only ended up paying around $100 for this lamp at the flea market, and it is valued at between $700 and $1,000. It is such a rare piece by this French designer that I have not been able to find another one exactly like it available online. That is always a good tip if you're looking for something of high value. Make sure that there are not any more of it for sale on the internet. The rarity of it really drives up the value and the price. I could probably ask $1,500 for this lamp and get it because there's none available. And if somebody really falls in love with it, oftentimes if it's in their budget, they will pay that price. However, I am not selling this lamp. This is going to be in our personal collection, hopefully for many years to come. Well, you're all gonna remember this find because I've talked about it in quite a few videos and I found it not that long ago. One of my most valuable finds at a thrift store this year was a piece of pottery by the artist Robert SPERRY. These are valued online for between $500 and $1,000. And I've got to tell you, with all the research that I did, I think the piece that I found is one of the most beautiful pieces he ever produced. I found it just sitting there on a Goodwill shelf for only $4.99. I was on a thrifting high the rest of the day because I couldn't believe that I just found it. I've been looking for a Robert SPERRY piece for many years, and to be honest, I didn't think I'd actually ever find one. So this was a very exciting find, both for the beauty of it and also for the value. I have not decided if I'm going to be selling this piece. If you're really interested in it, comment below and maybe that'll help encourage me to get it listed on my website. For the moment, I'm just going to display it and enjoy it. I have an entire folder on my Google Drive account that is just my dream finds. And you'd actually be pretty surprised. I probably have about 75 items in that folder. Anytime I learn the history of a piece or I see somebody else who has found something that I absolutely love, I add it to this folder with the intent of sharing these dream finds with all of you. Maybe I need to kick off 2023 by putting it out there in the universe what I'm hoping to find. I think that's a really good idea. I might just do that. Comment below if you would like to see me go over all of the items that I'm currently on the hunt for. I haven't found very many of these items yet, and today I can finally check off the Russian horse candle holders. I first saw these in an Instagram photo a few years back and fell in love with them. They are vintage cast iron Russian candle holders. They've got these cool horses, and there's just something so amazing and simple about the design. They almost have a little bit of a Scandinavian feel to them too. I've been looking for a pair of these for a good deal for almost 2 years, so don't give up hope. Some of you know it's taken me over 5 years to find a specific piece that I'm looking for, so there's always hope. You never know when you're gonna walk into that thrift store, and it's gonna be right there on that shelf. So many of you have asked me about my coffee mug that I use all the time, and I now have a teapot and a few other pieces that match that collection. They were made in the 1960s by the Danish potter Thomas TOFT, and his pieces are so hard to find. Even online at full retail, they're very hard to find. After years of searching for the teapot and some of the matching pieces to my coffee mug, I finally found a set online for a pretty good price. Not a thrift store price, but not full retail price. I was so excited. I made an offer with the seller. We got everything agreed upon, and then they arrived. Unfortunately, accidents happen. The seller did do a good job packaging it, but I was so devastated. As far as I know, there's only one more of these teapots for sale on the internet, and I think it's listed for $350. So for now, I'm gonna go ahead and just turn the teapot around and pretend that it's not broken because you can't see it. But eventually, I would love to try to put the pieces together. So if any of you have any advice or tips on the best way to do that, please comment below and let me know. I'm gonna need some help here.
You almost wouldn't know since I have it turned around backwards. Here's the beautiful teapot all broken. It's so sad. I've been keeping the broken pieces safe inside here, and it looks like there's only 4 pieces, so it didn't shatter. It just broke, and they're pretty clean breaks, so I'm hoping that someday I can reattach this. There is my original coffee mug. That was my first piece out of the Tundra collection. As you can see, it matches perfectly, and I take such good care of that coffee mug. I always make sure it's hand washed, and I've had it for a couple years so far without breaking it. So hopefully I can get this teapot fixed because the set looks so beautiful displayed together. And then up here is another one of my favorite Thomas TOFT pottery pieces. I actually purchased this one in 2021, so it didn't technically make the list, but I really love this one. It's kind of unique, and we've been trying to introduce a lot of trees and forest themed pieces in this house since we live on property with trees, and I think this will go perfect here in our kitchen. These are 2 of my other Thomas TOFT pottery pieces, and this was my very first one that I ever found. I found this beautiful pedestal bowl at Goodwill for only 99 cents, and I actually didn't know who it was by for almost a year, but I kept digging, and eventually one day in a pottery forum, I finally got my answer.
I want to thank Squarespace for sponsoring today's video.
I am so excited with this new year to finally start using one of Squarespace's best features, their member area subscriptions. Your site visitors can gain exclusive access to specific content when you create a members area. Member areas are a great way to generate revenue by selling access to exclusive content like classes, seminars, audio, visual media, or community pages. This can help you enhance your brand and grow your audience. I'm going to be offering a free members area to everybody who purchases tickets on one of my group travel trips. We have 3 group trips launched for next year so far. I might be sneaking in another one during the summertime. And creating a free members area for these specific travelers is going to be such an amazing way for me to communicate with them and share information like additional restaurants that I love in Rome or London, or better yet, my favorite secret vintage spots. With members area, you can share content and links, and the thing that I'm the most excited about are going to be the communication forums. It is going to be the perfect way for us travelers to get to know each other before we go on our adventure abroad. And this is just one of many ways that you can use the member areas with Squarespace.
So if having access to a members area is going to benefit your business and build your brand, you can start your 7-day free trial at squarespace.com. And when you are ready to launch your own website, head to squarespace.com/leftcoast to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. Thanks again to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. I I went on a very special family vacation that was originally planned for 2020 and got delayed, I think 3 times. It was actually the first trip that I've taken in years that I didn't film. I didn't vlog it, and it was really wonderful to be in the moment and just enjoy that time with my family. We created memories that I will never ever forget. But I did sneak in a flea market and I found some really wonderful things. I couldn't go to Miami for the first time and not visit a flea market. I found an entire set of vintage ZUNI needlepoint jewelry. It came with the beautiful chandelier earrings, the necklace, the bracelet, even an adjustable ring. It is so hard to find sets like this together. They often get split up. If somebody passes away and has a beautiful heirloom set like this, usually it will get pieced out for a higher value price. I refused to let this set get split up, so it was such an exciting find. And if you were interested in this set, I will be listing this in my January 6th First Friday sale. I'm gonna have over 200 vintage items up for grabs in that sale. So if you are wanting to make sure that you don't miss when that sale drops, you can subscribe to my newsletter on my website, leftcoastrevivals.com, or if you go to my website, you can hit that add to calendar button and it will automatically send you a notification 15 minutes before the sale launches. I don't know about you, but I need all the reminders I can get. These earrings have to make my top find list. I love these earrings so much. I got these on a trip to Las Vegas this fall, and they are so large, but they're not that heavy, which was really surprising. They've got beautiful, beautiful turquoise stones in them. I believe that these are Navajo crafted, and they are my favorite earrings that I have ever purchased. I found them at Charleston Antique Mall in Las Vegas. It is a fantastic vintage mall. If you are planning a trip to Las Vegas and you have an extra afternoon or morning free, I highly recommend getting off of that strip and heading to Charleston Antique Mall to do some fun shopping. They have hundreds of vendors. It's a great mall. It was really fun sitting down and looking at all of my finds from this year and going through my videos trying to pick what my top 22 finds were. Now, some of these items made the cut because of the value or what a great deal I got on them, but some of them just made the cut because I simply love them that much. And you know I have a thing for naked ladies. I have an entire shelf in the back with naked lady sculptures. And so I was very excited when I went to Laura's barn sale, Larkin's Mill Market, and she pulled out this entire stack full of nude sketches. We sat down on the floor and started digging through them, and I'm gonna show you a few of the ones that I ended up selecting to keep for myself. And I only paid $10 each.
I've already sold around 4 or 5, but these are the 5 that I'm really wanting to keep for myself. They look like line drawings and they're just so simple. I love this one because it has the hand down here, and then this one almost looks unfinished. I just love all of these, and I think that they're gonna look wonderful in a gallery wall all together. So what I will do is find some matting for them, probably at thrift stores, you know how I roll. And then hopefully here in the new year, I will build some frames. I wanna build some really light wood, possibly either out of reclaimed fir or maybe hemlock. So stay tuned for that. I'm holding myself to it. I'm putting it out here on YouTube that I'm gonna make my own picture frames.
I have a lot of fun little goals for 2023. One of them is that I want to attempt to make my own picture frames for these art pieces. I love to make things myself and with my own hands. And I had a picture frame shop on Etsy for 5 years where I upcycled vintage frames, and I always wanted to dabble in making my own. So I've watched a few YouTube videos and I need a few more tools, and I think I'm almost ready to make my own picture frames. So hopefully I will tackle that goal here in the new year. In my 10 years of selling vintage, I've probably sold 200 decanters. I don't know, I'm just making that up, but I wouldn't be surprised if over the years, that's how many decanters I have sold. Liquor decanters and barware, so great if you are a vintage reseller, by the way. And honestly, I've never come across one that stayed in my collection for longer than a few months. When I saw these leather-wrapped Italian decanters online, I knew I had to have them. They were full retail pricing online, and if you know me, you know that I usually try to find an item for a really good price, even if it means that I have to wait for it. But then I remembered, hey, I probably sold 200 decanters in my career. I think that will count as upgrading. And I have no regrets because these are my favorite decanters that I've ever come across. And this is how you should decorate your home, with pieces that you love that much. This is another Las Vegas find, and I found this at a thrift store for just a few dollars. It is a DANSK teak tray from probably the 60s or 70s. It's a really simple design, but these sell for over $100 online, so I found it for such a great deal. Whenever I'm decorating a space, I always try to make sure that I have a nice balance of pottery, of wood, of brass, of candles, textiles. You really want to have a nice balance of different materials and textures, and I really felt like having that tray on our glass top coffee table would really look wonderful with a few of the pottery pieces in it. On our European adventures, we went to Florence, Italy, which is my favorite city on this entire earth. I love Florence so much, and I'm so looking forward to going back next year with all of you who have booked our group trip. It is going to be an amazing time, and I'm actually going to be taking you to this flea market that I found, my BITOSSI cat. When I first found this cat, I was very confused because it looked identical to the BITOSSI cat in Rimini Blue, but it didn't have a BITOSSI stamp on the bottom. It actually said that it was made in Sardinia, which is an island off the coast of Italy. I even misidentified it in our BITOSSI video when we did the museum tour, even after seeing the cat mold that matched it perfectly. But I was so thrown off by the Sardinia stamp. But thankfully, a member of the BITOSSI Pottery Forum on Facebook corrected me and said that it was indeed a BITOSSI piece. They did a collaboration, and that is why it had a different marking on the bottom. I still have so much to learn when it comes to Italian pottery. Anywho, I found this at the flea market in Florence, and I think it's even more special because it is so rare because of the fact that it was a collaboration, and it's different than the common Rimini Blue one that you see. Well, I couldn't do my top 22 finds of 2022 without including one of Jesse's favorite finds. Every single time that I went to an antique store in the last few years, I've been looking for the Birds in Flight wall sculpture for Jesse. I have come across it a few times in the brass version, but it was always full retail, which can be anywhere from $600 to $1,000. Shared here on YouTube several times that we were on the hunt for this piece, and Kelly with the rustic hippo saw one in the vintage mall that she was selling at for only $300. And even though she could have bought this piece for herself and resold it, she was kind enough to let us know where it was at, and she even made sure that they held it for us so that we could get up to Tacoma, Washington to pick it up. And it was even in the rare matte black, which I think is typically listed online for around $1,000 to $1,500. So even though $300 was a big splurge, it's a piece we're gonna have for the rest of her life, and we are so grateful to Kelly for letting us know exactly where we could find it. Sometimes the universe just has your back, and I was complaining about how I couldn't find a bar cart big enough for our breezeway makeover, and I was starting to get worried because we were getting really close to having it completed, and I was almost ready to put the video out. And I really wanted to have a bar cart that we could actually use as a functional surface to serve things on. So I was super thrilled when I ran into Restated PDX at a local flea market, and they had the perfect bar cart. Not only the size, but the color of the metal was absolutely perfect for that space. It is a designer bar cart in perfect condition, and these sell for so much money online, it's unbelievable. We got the bar cart, I think, for around $400. Again, this was a big investment piece, but when you find a piece that you know you're never gonna get tired of, it's worth the investment if you can. Another amazing find from the Miami flea market was this amazing, ginormous cocktail ring. It's a 1960s kind of brutalist piece from a designer in Israel. The vendor was selling everything in her entire space to support a women's shelter, and I was really moved by that, and I thought it was really wonderful that she was out there working so hard to do that for that nonprofit. She was telling me a little bit about the history of the designer and the ring, and how this ring would sell online for around $1,000, but that she just didn't have the resources or the market to get it sold for that price. So she was only asking $200 for this ring. So I went ahead and purchased it, and I didn't say anything to her at that time, but my intent when I purchased it was to put this amazing ring up for auction and see if there was any chance that I might have the ability to get that full $1,000 or something closer to it, so that I can take that money and donate it to her cause. I don't have auctions on my website, so I'm going to go ahead and create this as an eBay listing, and I will put the link down in the description below for any of you who might be interested in bidding on this beautiful ring, and I will also put a direct link to the charity below in case you want to donate directly to them. saving some of the best for last, and I had to include my incredible Indonesian art from the Rose City Vintage Market.
You are not going to believe this. I think I just thrifted this painting and it's worth thousands of dollars.
I found this incredible painting at the Rose City Vintage Market over the summer, and I had no idea who the artist was or who the person in the painting was, but I knew that I felt something when I looked at this piece, and I just fell in love with it. So for $125, I decided it was worth the chance to purchase, and maybe it would turn out to be something of value. Well, it sure did. This was painted by a famous Indonesian artist, and thanks to subscribers from Indonesia, I was able to identify who it was in the painting. We were all joking about how much it looked like Adam Driver. I only paid $125 for this painting, and this artist has pieces that have sold online for up to $15,000. There are currently a few of his works for sale for several $1,000s, and they are not portraits, they are more still life, so typically portraits will sell for a higher dollar amount. I have yet to get this piece appraised. It is something on my 2023 goal list, so I will update you in the new year as soon as I get this authenticated and get a realistic valued price. And for my Indonesian viewers, if you know any museums who might be interested in this piece, I would love to get in contact with them and would be happy to donate this to the museum. So please reach out and let me know if you have any pointers in the right direction. My next two top 22 finds I purchased from the same estate. And so I'm gonna be taking you over there behind this camera, and we're gonna go look at some shelves full of vintage items. I'm counting these as two separate items, even though there's probably about 50 in one and 20 in the other, but they're of the same kind. So I figured that that counts. I don't like rules, so today there are no rules.
Look at this stuff. Isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete? These were all purchased from one estate, so whoever collected these really cared for these pieces. This one is a rookwood from 1914. It is valued at $950 in mint condition when the person wrote these notes. And actually, if you look at this, it says 1914, and then that says almost 100 years. Well, it's 2022. So this was valued at $950 before 2014. So this is going to be a very fun collection for me to research and learn more about and check the value on these items. This is a rookwood from 1919, and they've got $395 on it again years ago. So it's gonna be really neat to learn more about this. Look at this little birdie one. So beautiful. This is another rookwood, 1929, and we have to have a moment for these two. This one, the original sticker on here, valued it at $1,200. And all of these are just in perfect condition. There's no chips. They look like they could have been made yesterday. Lots of rookwood, 1935, 1939. Look how pretty the purple one is. And then I love this one with the little swirls, $595. 1886 to 1916. Amazing. So stay tuned for more of an update on this collection and what I'm gonna do with it. Like I said, I've got to do a little bit of research, and I want to admire them for a little bit longer, and then these will all be coming up for sale. Next, I have about 100 of these incredible glass hand-blown birds by IITTALA. There are boxes and boxes. I've got all of these boxes are full of smaller boxes with lots of different birds. These are very collectible and valuable. Some of them sell for $200, some of them for $400, $500, $600, and some of them are really rare because they were a specific collaboration. So like this one here, it looks like it was a 1973 original bird, and this must be the artist. Yes, this is the artist that they collaborated with for this specific bird. So I've got a lot of work to do on researching these. I just got these in just in time to fit it into this video. So I've got to open everything up, make sure things are nice and safe and not broken, and then I've got to do a lot of research. This one says it's Arabia, Finland, so that's different. Well, look at that little bird. He's cute. I just need to get a few more things done before I actually have the proper space to pull these out safely. So stay tuned in the new year for lots of new content coming. And I forgot to mention, all of this is gonna be for sale. Just not yet, but soon.
One of my top 2021 finds was my Danish bookshelf from Form and Function. And there was another piece that I really wanted that I had seen on their Instagram, but unfortunately it was already sold. Form and Function goes to Sweden, Denmark, and Norway and finds these incredible pieces that need to get restored. They bring them over in a container and they restore them here in Portland, Oregon. And I am so grateful that he was able to locate the exact Swedish vanity of my dreams. Now that I have moved my office out of my home and here into the studio space, it's been really wonderful to turn my old office into an actual functional guest bedroom. This vanity is another forever piece in our home and it fits the space just perfectly. And I love how the mirrors turn, so when I'm sitting there and I'm doing makeup on this eye, I'm kind of like looking over there and then I just turn and look over here. It's great. I absolutely love it. This has to be my top favorite find of 2022, so it felt fitting to end the video with this one. 2022 has been such an incredible year. Being able to spend so much more quality time with my family and being able to go on all of these adventures and taking each of you with us. I want to say thank you to each and every one of you for taking time out of your day and your busy lives to spend with me. I am forever grateful, and I am just so excited about 2023 because there are going to be some amazing adventures coming up, and this time I'm not only going to be filming them to share with all of you, I'm actually going to be hanging out with some of you, which is just blowing my mind. I know we are going to have an absolute blast, and everyone is going to be invited to join virtually. So many of you already know that the first Italy trip is sold out. We've got a few spots left in the second Italy trip, and I've got a handful of spots left in our fall London trip. So many of you have been asking and requesting that I host a trip here in Oregon, and it is happening. It is in the works right now. So here's what I can tell you. It's gonna be in the summertime because that's when Oregon is the most beautiful. We are gonna go thrifting. We are gonna go antique shopping. We're gonna have some great food. We are gonna explore the Oregon coast together. I'm gonna take you to some of my favorite beaches, some of my favorite lookouts, and we're just gonna have a wonderful time bonding over our love of vintage. There are only gonna be 24 spots available on this trip. I do not know the exact dates or the exact pricing yet. It's still in the works, but I will have an update for you very soon. So if you want first chance at booking when that trip goes live, head to my website, leftcoastrevivals.com. My subscribers on the newsletter are going to be the very first to find out when that trip is going live for booking. So if you are interested in joining Jesse and I on the Oregon Coast Tour 2023, head to my website, leftcoastrevivals.com. I love hearing about your finds too, and it's always really fun for me to read through the comment section and see what other people have been finding at thrift stores and antique stores. So I was thinking it'd be really fun in this video if everybody put their top 22 finds of 2022 in the comments below. I can't wait to read through the comments and see what all of you have been finding this year. And stay tuned next year for my goal finds. We're gonna talk about what we're gonna put out there in the universe so that we can find it. Thank you so much for this incredible year. I am so grateful for all of you, and I hope that you have a wonderful new year, and I will see all of you in the next episode.